So you guys know that on this channel we play neo soul, often on acoustic guitar. So I wanted to make a video about the must-know chord positions, the must-know chords to play neo soul on acoustic guitar. So we are gonna start with the chord positions that you must know, and then we're gonna combine them into actual examples, actual chord progressions, and as always, the tabs for the chord progressions are going to be on my Patreon. Right, so what we must know to play neo soul on acoustic guitar are 7th chords, okay? Which 7 chords? Well, let's get started with the first pieces, which is dominant 7th chords, okay? Now we're gonna make it really easy, so you just need to start from your C major that everybody knows, that's an open chord, a cowboy chord position, and then we're gonna add the pinky on fret 3 of the G string. That's the flat 7 of this chord, and this gives you a C7. Now, when you play a C7, if you make sure that you have no open strings, so no first string, no low E string either, you actually can move this position all over the fretboard, keeping in mind that this is your root, and literally play this position in any key, exactly like you do with a bar chord, okay? So for example, we can take the C7 and move it all the way up until we find the note E as the root and play E7 with this position. So this is one way of playing dominant 7 chord. Start from a C7 and move it into an E7. Now you also may want to start from an A7, okay, so that you can turn it into a bar chord like this C7, or why not this E7. Okay. Now I don't like this chord very much, so you won't see me playing it too often, although sometimes it may be helpful knowing it, especially if you are coming from a sus4 chord. Okay. Then the other position that you have to know to play dominant 7 chords on guitar comes from the E shape, so this time the root will be on the E string, so you have to think of an E7, okay, that you're moving around. Okay. And for example, you can get your C7 all the way up here with this bar chord, okay, just moving the E7 into this C7, okay. If you're slightly more advanced, you may want to consider not to repeat any note of this chord twice, so you can get rid of the bar and essentially play the same chord this way. So you're gonna have 1, 3, 5, and 7 without having to repeat any of these notes twice like you do with classic bar chords, okay. So 3 positions so far for the dominant 7 chords, this one, but also this, and this, okay. These are all C7 with 3 different positions. Next on the list will be the -7 chord, okay. You have to start from an A-7 chord here, which sounds really good even if you just play this way as an open chord, but now you can move it into a bar chord, okay. So for example, you can play a C-7 this way, just moving the A-7 into this. Okay. Now there's another position that you should know, this time with the root on the E string, because guys, we try to keep at least 2 positions per chord, one with the root on the A and one with the root on the E string. So this time we're looking into an E minor, which we make an E-7 in this way, and then we can move it into any other bar chord with this simple shape. So for example, an A-7 would look like this. Okay, but again, like we did for the dominant 7 chords, if you guys are a little bit more familiar with these shapes already, you may want to consider another position for this, which doesn't involve repeating any of the notes of the chord twice. So you can look into this, which is a position which is quite familiar, quite common. I mean, you will see me playing it a lot. I'm sure that you've seen other people playing it, either this way or maybe this way. And this is literally included in what you play when you play this position. But if you learn this, you're gonna find again 1, 3, 5, and 7 here, so you don't repeat any of these notes twice. And you also have a position which is quite easy to move around and get, for instance, when you want to stretch into a 9th, okay, minor 9th. So to recap these positions so far, we had the A-7 moved into a C-7, and the E-7 moved into an A-7, which you can also play this way. I actually recommend you to learn this one as well. Next on the list is going to be the major 7th chord, and let's get started once more from the A. So A major 7, open position. This is a lovely voicing, guys. Learn this chord and use it in your chord progression, even like this, just as an open chord, okay? A major 7. Obviously, you can turn it into any other major 7 chord. in the same way as you move a bar chord. So for example, now I'm gonna go all the way up to the note F on fret number 8 and get my F major 7 this way. Okay, this if you want to include the bar, reaching this note, or this if you want to instead stop your first string, mute your first string, and you don't even need any bar when you play this. Okay, so from this into this. Okay, another position that you guys should know for this chord is actually this. Okay, we're not gonna get too much into detail to explain where this comes from. This is a drop 2 position. So we want to consider this F major 7, the same as what you would do with an A minor here, with the F in the bass, and you get this. Okay, obviously even this can be moved around anywhere else you like. There are no open strings, the A is muted, the first string is muted. You just play it like that. Okay. Now let's have a look at a first chord progression with these chord positions. I'm going to start from F major 7, which we've just learned. I will move into an E7 like this, and then I'm going to go to my A minor 7. Okay. Now, if we want to stay for a little longer on the A minor 7, why don't we learn an extension like A minor 11? Very similar, but it sounds really nice. Okay. So altogether, it could be something like this. Nice and simple. Guys, make sure that you just start by learning the muscle memory of these positions if you have never played before getting into the right hand pattern and into the timing. If you want to get all of the details of this chord progression, the examples will be in the tab on my Patreon. Okay. Now it's time to learn another chord species, which is going to be the diminished 7th, which if you guys have watched other videos on my channel, you know how important it is, because it's one of those positions that you can move around, and once you know one shape, you actually know literally how to play any diminished 7th chord. I will also leave a couple of links to a couple of videos that I made about diminished 7th chords, one to explain the function of these chords, and the other one to explain why we have only 3 diminished 7th chords, and all other diminished 7 chords are in versions of one of these 3. Okay, I don't want to get too much into the theory right now, so now we're just going to learn this position, which has the root on the A string. For instance, I'm going to get a C sharp here, and this is the position that we must know. Okay, if you watch the other videos, there are all of the other positions for the diminished 7 chords, but because I know that these chords are slightly more advanced, if you're just approaching this genre right now, with this position, you can already have fun and use it in an actual chord progression. Now, like we said, because we can move this 3 frets across and we're still playing the same chord, it's very likely that you will see me doing things like this or this. Okay, where I'm playing just the same chord but sliding it all the time, you know, just by using 3 half steps, going up or down. That's exactly the same. So why don't we add this chord to the chord progression that we had, and we can turn it into something like this, a second example. So as you guys can see, you can either use only one position or slide the same position 3 frets across, and the effect is really nice when you want to loop it. Okay, so feel free to use this progression to maybe create your loop to improvise or to generate, to compose an actual song. Why not? Right guys, I hope this lesson was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Once more, the examples, the chord progressions that I just played will be on my Patreon. You will find all of the tabs that you need to follow note by note what I was playing and learn these chord progressions while you practice the chord shapes.